Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Thomas Galgani Show. I'm your host, Thomas Galgani, and today we're going to be talking about two exercises that you can do to achieve a healthier perspective when we're talking about mental health. So, for perspective, things that you can do right away to kind of make yourself feel better, but it's also practical and kind of an intelligent way of looking at things, being more objective, not lying to yourself, and helping yourself out at the same time. So these techniques were actually passed on to me through mentors. So I'm not going to take credit for them by any means, but they've helped me a lot. And so I kind of wanted to sit down and share them with you guys. Maybe one of you out there can benefit from this because I've actually been doing this for a little while and I wanted to share this. So before I get into these though too, I want to talk about some of the things that I've been hearing that I think are really important when it comes to mental health. I've been hearing more people talk about, avoid rumination and just kind of over talking your problems. That might be a little bit new for some of you, but I do think that we can kind of over talk these things, and you want to make sure that you're getting out and doing something too. So that's something that I totally agree with right off the bat. So just in my experience, if you're feeling kind of down, just get something done, accomplish something, anything. If you know that you have a half a tank of gas and you're like, hey, okay, I have a half a tank of gas. It would be better if I had 3/4 or more. I could go fill up my tank, right? Go to the gas station and accomplish a task. Just a simple thing, get moving. You will already start feeling better. But at the end of the day, there's also going to be some downtime. So you can't always be moving and talking to people, stuff like that. And so I wanted to tell you guys these two exercises that have been helping me really have to do with, also being more fair to yourself and looking at things objectively. The first one is something that you can do when things are going well that kind of sets you up for success, so that later on, if you're not feeling great about yourself, you can kind of look back and have a piece of evidence. So if somebody writes you a nice note or you have some evidence that is unique and special to you personally, hold on to that so that you can kind of reflect back on that. It can be some kind of a binder, right? In the Navy, I actually learned to keep a binder. They would call it a Love Me binder. And this was going to be all the certificates of all the schools that you would attend and stuff like that. And that's great for, that's for professional reasons. If you needed to show it to a person, group of cadre or an organization. But I think applying that same approach for something personal for yourself. So as like a piece of evidence, like, hey, I did this and it was awesome. And preferably these should not be awards or like public or, I mean, they can be, right? But ideally it's something more personal that not everybody's going to know about. So it's not certificates, awards, scholarships, if you're in school, stuff like that. It's something that, maybe it's special to you in some way. Somebody wrote you a note. I can give you an example of this. Back when I was teaching foreign language for a military institute, I actually had a handful of students who generously went out of their way, unexpectedly, and they wrote me saying, hey, thank you so much for your help. And they communicated with me how they went on with their skills and kind of whether it was after they completed a program and they would say, hey, I actually reached this new level, or I did this, you really helped us. That meant a lot to me. And I actually saved those, and I knew that when I was going to leave that job, I was going to lose access to my email. I did. So I'm actually glad that I went out of my way to print up those emails. And because it was a military institute, I actually blacked out their names, email addresses, and stuff like that. So it wouldn't be a security issue holding on to them. But on a personal note, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool receiving notes like that. And I also saved a couple of notes from colleagues who said some nice things that, maybe it doesn't even seem like a big deal at the time, but I have looked at them a couple of times, and it's not about, things that you're looking at every single day or anything like that. You're not, resting on your laurels or like looking for obscure things to just kind of like live in the past and hold on to forever. It's not about that. It's just that you have these in a place that you can go back to and point to a tangible piece of evidence and say, hey, I don't suck because this here, like, even if I'm struggling a lot in something right now, or I am not performing to a standard that I should be, or I'm not I'm not the person that I should be right now, I at least have evidence that I don't suck as a person, and that you have this. And so just remember that if even if it comes down to just writing something down. So if you happen to be watching this and you are struggling, I guarantee you there's something in your recent past, in recent history, that you have done well. So I don't care what it is. I don't care how basic or dumb you think it is. It doesn't matter if anybody else would be impressed by it or anything. If it's a good decision that you made and positively impacted your life, or better than that, somebody else, if it helped somebody else, go ahead and write that down. You don't even have to share anybody or tell anybody that, but that is something that I've found is really beneficial. Exercise number 2 has to do with, this was actually given to me more about performance on a day-to-day level, because I asked my mentor at the time, one of my mentors, what do you think about scoring the day? Because I've known some people in the past who would do that and be like, oh, today was a 10 out of 10. I did everything. I did fitness. I did, I read a lot, did some research and stuff like that. And then I also made a few sales in business. And then other times it would be really low. You had to score yourself, honestly. But when I asked my mentor, he was like, no, don't do that, because what you think is really low could actually be really high in some other categories. Basically, like, you're not always the best judge of yourself, and this also comes down to interactions with others. What you think is perfect may not even be impressive to somebody else. Just be true to yourself, and the number scale, life is so much more complicated than that, than just these numerical values, or kind of this binary, like good or bad. Yeah, it's good to look at things like that. In fact, actually, Andy Frisella, who it is sometimes good to look at things like that. And Andy Frisella, I should mention, the Powerless creator, 75 Hard, stuff like that. You guys have probably heard of him. He talks about days that are wins or losses. And that is, he swears by that for the past like 25 years, he's been doing that system. So that's awesome. But with that said, this other technique that I'm talking about, though, has to do with avoiding a numerical system, though, and scoring your day, but actually giving yourself 3 things that you should have done better, or that you could have done better, that you can improve on immediately the next day, and then 3 things that you did well. And the technique, that kind of the caveat, the nuance to this that I wanted to add to this is, don't be afraid to give yourself credit for things that, you're not showing this to anybody else. If it's something that is meaningful to you, write that stuff down. And an example of this is, like, I'll go through periods, for example, where I don't want to go to social things. I would be like that at work a lot too. When I would work in an office setting, I'd be like, I don't want to go to this. But I knew that would be something I would eventually beat myself up for if I would, or let's say even if I did go and I would be kind of antisocial, I'd be like, man, why don't I just talk to more people and just be a normal freaking person, and, get out of my shell a little bit and talk to more people. If I was going to beat myself up over not doing that, why shouldn't I give myself credit for actually doing it? Just because it's basic stuff, like I might give an example and then you guys would be like, man, Tom, that is such a boring example that is just like, why even tell that? And it's like, yeah, that's the point. This is basic common sense stuff, but we write it down so that it's evidence for yourself. It's reinforcing that, no, I did this right today. At least 3 things. You always do at least 3 things right today. I shouldn't say that. You don't always do that. I guess not everybody does that, but today, as you're watching this, you probably have done at least 3 things right. So it's not even a guarantee. That's why I'm saying it's not a guarantee. And that's why it means something though. You've probably, unless you lay in bed all day, and even there, you might be able to find some wins. Like, did you send a nice note to a friend who was in need of your help? Could be something like that. Yeah, you guys. So those are 2 very basic exercises. Remember to not ruminate over stuff too long. A lot of people say, like, go out and be around people, go talk about stuff. My thing on that, honestly, is sometimes it can be damaging to talk too much about things. One, because it can hurt your reputation, and you can also get in the habit of you're reinforcing to yourself that you're not self-reliant. You're not able to solve problems on your own. And it's never good to take isolation too far. Don't let it get too far. And it goes without saying, I am not a mental health professional. So if you actually do need help, go talk to somebody that is a professional in this. But what I'm saying is, take these practical steps and proactively fight it each day, as in, like, take the steps ahead of time to make sure that you're feeling good. So keep moving, and then try out those 2 exercises. Let me know what you think, as in holding on to physical positive things in like a binder, kind of accumulate those things that you can go back to. And then the second one is, again, giving yourself credit for even the little wins of the day, actually writing it down. There's a lot of power to physically writing it down. I've started doing that really consistently recently, and it's really been helping me out, my mindset, not just productivity and kind of performance in my work, business and stuff like that, and communication with clients and everything, but also just sort of my mindset and how I'm feeling about the day. So that's it for today, guys. Again, thanks so much for tuning in. Not all of the episodes are going to be like this. As you know, we talk a lot about, filmmaking, entertainment, some adventure stories, stuff like that. But every now and then I like talking about mindset, because it's something that I've realized is really important in life. And, I've run 4 marathons, a lot of 4 full official marathons, and every single time mindset was a very big deal with each of those. And that's just one small example. Schooling, learning a foreign language, teaching a foreign language, all that stuff. Mindset has always played such a big role for me. So, every now and then I will get into this, and hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys get something out of this. Shoot me a message if you like. I read everything, comments, DMs, stuff like that. And until next week, guys, have a good one.